Hi, and welcome back to the channel. I know I have been remiss about posting videos lately, but October has been an incredibly hectic month for me. First, I was dealing with getting rear-ended and dealing with the insurance and the body shop and all of that goes along with that. Then I had my daughter come for a visit for just under a week. It was really nice to see her. She lives quite a distance away, so we don't get to see each other that often. Additionally, I've been taking a Zoom class. I've got, I think, 3 more classes to go. And finally, on top of all of that, I have been in the process of redoing my living room, painting, and doing some other things to my living room. And I do plan on doing a full reveal video for that within the next week or so. So please be on the lookout for that. However, I would like to do a short cooking video with you today. The weather is changing, things are getting cooler. We're all thinking about turning to comfort foods and, of course, using the foods that are traditional parts of harvest at this time of year. My boyfriend planted a number of trees years and years ago, and some years are better for harvest than others, and this year he had a bumper crop of apples. And so today I'm going to be making a Dutch apple cake, and the recipe is found here in the Fannie Farmer Cookbook. This does count, I know it looks pretty new, right? But this does count as vintage because this edition is over 25 years old. It is the Centennial edition of the cookbook, the 13th edition, but it's the Centennial edition. The original Fannie Farmer Cookbook first came out in 1896, and this was published in 1996, and it was edited by Marion Cunningham. No, not Marion Cunningham from Happy Days fame, but an accomplished cook. Of course, 1996 was the year that Atlanta hosted the Summer Olympics. So without much further ado, let's get started. First step is to put all of our dry ingredients together. Just wanted to show you this lovely bowl. This bowl came from Betty's Treasures. Betty is a vendor with Gray Barn Antiques in Andover, New Jersey. So my set of these mixing bowls is almost complete. I just need one more. So my first ingredient is going to be 1½ cups of flour, which I have pre-measured here, along with 2 teaspoons of baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 cup of sugar. Combine those. Now I'm going to take 1/4 pound of butter, and I'm going to melt it in a saucepan over the stove. This butter was already at room temperature, so it will not take long to melt. Be very careful when you're melting butter. You don't want to leave it on the stove for too long because it will burn. And the butter has melted, so I'm going to take it off the heat. Next step is to take my 1/2 cup of milk and 1 egg, and I'm going to add it to the butter. And mix it in thoroughly. Going to add my milk, egg, and butter mixture to my dry ingredients and combine that thoroughly. With baking, however, it's really important to follow the recipe because baking is very much like chemistry. All of the ingredients are designed to react in a certain way. And if you don't do that, then you might not get the desired result. So that is all mixed and ready to go. I'm going to put it in my 8x8 pan that I've already greased and floured. This 8x8 pan also came to me from Gray Barn Antiques. It was courtesy of Barb at Auntie's Attic. Barb at Auntie's Attic is another vendor at Gray Barn. I was at Gray Barn back in September. Gray Barn Antiques is located in Andover, New Jersey. I will be sure to include a link to my video that I did while I was visiting Gray Barn. The folks at Gray Barn have weekly Facebook sales every Wednesday after the store closes around 5:30 Eastern. They also do other monthly sales. They have a bi-monthly costume jewelry only sale, as well as other sale events. So if you don't live in or near Andover, New Jersey, but you still would like the opportunity to see what they have to offer, you can check out these sale events, and you can also just check out their Instagram and their Facebook. All of the information for their sale events is located on their Facebook and all their social media, and they do ship around the country except for the really big items. Duke actually already pre-cut these apples for me a few days ago, and you can see they still look nice and fresh. Obviously, I've been keeping them in the refrigerator, but we also sprinkled them with a little bit of lemon juice so that the apples wouldn't turn brown. These are Golden Delicious that he grew himself. So I'm just going to slice these chunks into more uniform pieces. I may have more than I need. It's always better to have more than you need than not enough. The recipe does say 5 tart apples. A good choice would be Granny Smith. You don't want the really sweet apples for this. Again, these are Golden Delicious. So the 5 tart apples, that could change depending on how large your apples are. Do one more, and that should be enough. Now I'm going to press my apple slices into my cake batter. I'm going to do it as uniformly as possible. Because these are homegrown apples as opposed to apples grown by professional growers, sizes are different. They're not always perfect. That's okay. Sorry about the nail polish. We had a costume contest at work, and I went as Barbie. And I haven't taken off the remnants of my nail polish yet. I did get 3rd prize in the individual contest. So it was fun. Okay, I have more than enough apples. I guess we'll be snacking on apples. Now I'm mixing a 1/2 cup of sugar along with 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. And last but not least, 2 tablespoons of raisins. I'm not going to officially measure these out. I'm just going to eyeball it. Raisins are something I always have on hand. I buy them in the bag as opposed to the box because the bag keeps them fresher much longer. They tend to dry out in those boxes. Looks pretty good. Now I'll just sprinkle this over the top. If you baked this in a slightly larger pan, you would probably end up using all of the sugar and raisin mixture. I think I'll just pick out the raisins here and leave the rest. Now I'm going to bake it in a 400-degree oven for 25 minutes. While waiting for the cake to bake, I took care of all my dishes. I absolutely hand wash all of my vintage Pyrex, my vintage cookware. I hand wash any vintage glasses that I own. I also tend to hand wash any utensils with a wooden handle, because if you put those in the dishwasher, eventually the handles will dry out and crack, and then you'll have to throw away your utensil. So the cake should be ready shortly. We'll have a taste test when it's done. The cake is out of the oven and it looks and smells amazing. Cinnamon has just that warm, cozy smell to it, and it just kind of makes you think of grandma baking and you waiting to get a piece of whatever it is that she's made for you. There's the cake. As you can see, most of the sugar and cinnamon mixture did melt. I think I put a little too much in the middle, but that's okay. Most of it melted in. You can see the cake rose around the apples, and you've got the raisins scattered about. I'm going to go ahead and cut myself a slice and try it. Now the cake did just come out of the oven a short while ago, so it's still a little soft, so it did break up a little bit, but when I cut into it, I could hear the crunch of the melted cinnamon and sugar combination, so I'm looking forward to giving it a try. You make sure I get a bit of the raisin and a bit of the cake. It's really good. It's very light. It's got a really buttery taste. As you know, we put 1/4 pound of butter in this thing. And let's make sure I get some apple on this next bite. The apple's good too. Part of the reason why you want to use one of these tartar apples is they have less juice when they're cooked. So you're not going to have a big mess in your final baked product. It's really good. It's very mild. It's a very pleasant taste, and I think this is something that you and your family would enjoy. So please give it a whirl. For those of you who have seen some of my other cooking videos, you may notice that my second refrigerator is finally gone. I'm so excited. That was the refrigerator that was in the house when I moved in. I brought my own refrigerator with me, and it was just sitting there unused, taking up lots of space. So we moved it out into the garage over the weekend, and so I have a less cluttered kitchen to look at. Very exciting. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you give this recipe a try. If you do, let me know how it comes out. If you like my content, please be sure to like the video, consider subscribing, and of course, be sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future updates. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next video.